Hello, dear listeners, and welcome to Blush and Bloom, the podcast where we have open, thoughtful conversations about women's health, self care, and everything in between. I'm your host, Gigi, and today we're turning our focus to something we don't always think about, which is eye health and why it matters more than we realize. When we talk about taking care of ourselves, we often think about fitness, skincare, or mental well being. But what about our eyes? We rely on them for almost everything, yet many of us don't pay attention until something goes wrong. From screen fatigue to aging vision, makeup hygiene to genetics, there's so much to learn about protecting our eyesight at every stage of life. And joining me today is Dr. Arila, an optometrist who's not just passionate about eye care, but also helping people grow through intentional reading. She's also known as the book doctor, and she has written 7 books that have helped people navigate and build meaningful relationships. So, in this episode, we'll be talking about the most common eye health issues African women face, how screen time is impacting our vision, practical ways to protect our eyes, and even beauty-related tips for makeup lovers and contact lens wearers. So, whether you're listening on your morning walk, during a break, or winding down for the day, I hope this conversation leaves you with practical insights to help your eyes stay healthy for years to come. So let's get into it. And Dr. Arila, let's start by getting to know you. Can you please introduce yourself and share a bit about your journey into eye care and what inspired you to become an optometrist?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Gigi. Thank you for having me here today. Well, my name is Arila. She's said Dr. Arila. Some people like to call me. I would say I'm a Christian, I'm a book enthusiast, and an optometrist. Right. So, what led me into optometry? Well, as many people would have while they were younger, I wanted to study medicine and surgery, but things happened and that led me to seeking another path. Optometry was never really the number one career choice I had, but as I got into it, I grew to love it so much, and I realized the very importance of eye care, and that's why I'm really glad that we're having this conversation today, because there are so many things that a lot of people are very ignorant about when it comes to their eye health. So I think basically they should do.
Okay, thank you so much. And so I'll get right into the first question. So, from your experience, what are the most common eye issues African women tend to face, and are there any unique risks we should be aware of?
Well, I think yes, there are some things that we need to be aware of, definitely. But some of the common things that you can see amongst most African women, I know I would like to bring it down to even our country here. The regular or basic conjunctivitis that you can also see amongst men and children. There's glaucoma, there's presbyopia, cataract, which is also very common amongst women, ocular hypertension, and so on and so forth, basically. So, some of these things are not just gender based in quotes, but also can be related to our environment and the kind of activities that we engage in regularly, daily. So, yes, I think these are some of the things that we need to look out for. Basically, even as women, there's also cataract due to trauma. I've seen this in most in most women that I've come in contact with. I know I treated a case of lens subluxation a while ago. So this was due to domestic abuse, from a woman. The contact kind of like caused her to have trauma in the eye, due to the heat that she received. And so these are some of the things that we need to really look out for as women. We need to protect our eye care. We need to protect our sight. So yeah. Okay. Yeah, so most times most women would will see most people come to their hospital or the eye clinics, majorly when the situation is like has gone way out of proportion, right? They wait till it's gotten so bad, like
Mhm.
so bad, and then you now have to start, I don't know, trying to remedy the condition. But I don't see that usually with men. I don't know. And I feel women are supposed to be more observant and,
That's interesting.
right? So we, like, if we were to if we're probably to do a study of, the number of patients that come into the clinic, maybe ratio of men to women, I
Mhm.
think men come to the clinic more than women, and that's not because they have more eye um conditions or issues, but I think it's because they are more aware, and they tend to prioritize their health. Women tend to wait until the situation has gotten so bad, and they have to literally drag them to the hospital. And I don't know why we do that to ourselves. Because I mean, your sight is something that is very important. And I don't think, for someone who's had their sight, and, losing your sight can be very, dysfunctional. Basically, can really disrupt your routine. You probably have to start um trying to live another kind of life, basically. So
Yeah.
I think we should really take note of this thing. When you notice there's something wrong, you have some symptoms, just go. We spend so much on our hairs and our cosmetics, makeup, outward look, clothes, expensive bags, but women hardly pay attention to their eye care or even health in general. So
This
I
is
think we should.
very interesting because I used to think that women tend to go to the hospital more, maybe because they have like children that they need to take care of and everything. But then
Mm,
I think even like the last conversation that I had with the therapist in the previous episode, we were talking about how women tend to prioritize everybody else around them except themselves. So
yeah.
I
Say
guess it makes.
sacrificial living.
Okay. Well, this is interesting. And I was even surprised by the case study you brought up with somebody getting hit in the eye and having to go to the clinic. Like
Yeah.
that is scary.
Happens a lot with some women. Um, Sometimes it's a case of domestic violence, and people lose their eyesight due to stuff like that.
Yeah.
Women just really need to learn to prioritize.
Mhm.
Prioritize. You can't take care of every other person if you're not well. You get.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. So I have a question based on the previous one. So, how often do you think somebody should go for eye checkups? Because it's not something like even I personally tend to think about when I'm thinking of going to the doctor to like do a checkup.
Mm, okay. So we would advise that you walk into an eye clinic at least 2 times in a year,
Okay.
once every 6 months. Once every 6 months. That's excluding if you have any particular symptom. Just get a regular routine eye check. Walk into the clinic, say to them, I want to have an eye check.
Mhm.
Please endeavor to check your eye pressure, which is very important. I believe we'll get to talk about that as we go on. Check
Okay.
your eye pressure. They can look into your eyes, check the fundus of your eyes to make sure that everything is fine. Your blood vessels, everything is good. There are no hemorrhages or some of those pathological issues that can occur behind the eyes. Because I trust me, there's something going on like inside your eye, aside the white part of your eyes and the black iris that you're seeing in front of your eyes, right? Most diseases tend to, start from behind the eyes and not the one you get to see when you look at the mirror. And some
Yeah.
of these things, you can't see them just by looking at a mirror or shining a torchlight in someone's eyes. There are some specific devices and yes, that instruments that we need to use to check what is going on behind the eyes, the retina, your cup, your nerves, your blood vessels, some of those things, your macula. We need to check and make sure that everything is intact, because some of these diseases, they sneak up on you, right? They sneak up on people. Just example, glaucoma. Glaucoma is called the silent thief. of sight. You know what they mean by something's a silent thief. You don't
Yeah.
see it coming. So
Yeah.
with regular checkups, you can detect. That's why it's very important to do routine checks. With routine checks, you can detect if something is wrong. And with some of these pathological issues, you can overcome them, or you can treat them, manage them, if you are able to detect them on time. Usually the challenges people get or have is when they walk into the clinic when you've lost like almost 70% of your sight already, and now we're just trying to just preserve whatever is left, because some eye conditions are irreversible, right? So you can only just try to maintain what is left. You can't even cure it like completely. So that's why we advise that you walk into a clinic twice a year, once every 6 months. I don't think that's too much to ask.
I don't think so either. A few of the things you mentioned also like lean on the next question I was going to ask you about how genetics influence eye health. So are there specific conditions that run in families that we should be mindful of?
Yes, there are. For example, refractive errors, myopia, hyperopia, astigmatism. Usually, would say to people that if you had a parent, siblings, grandparents, like if there's a family history of a particular eye disease, there are chances that someone else in the family is going to have it. So you see sometimes there are parents who wear glasses and they have children who wear glasses, right? And then cases of glaucoma and cataract, because usually when people walk into the clinic, and we don't just go straight up to opening your eyes and trying to see what's there and what's not. We first of all have to take some data, personal history, family history, your personal history, health history, and all of that. So you would hear an eye doctor ask you, did you have anybody in your family who's had cataract? Do you have anybody in your family who's had glaucoma? Was any of your parents or grandparents blind, before they died, or stuff like that? Why? We are trying to know if there is a history of a certain kind of disease that runs that's been in the family, because some of these things are genetically linked, right? So if you can trace any family history of any kind of disease, that would really help, in on how to treat and tackle the problem.
Okay, that makes sense. I have a follow-up question to that. So I think since you already said that we should be going to an eye specialist twice every year, but then I do have this question, like, so many of us only think about eyesight when we notice a problem. So like, what are some early warning signs that we should be aware of that something might be wrong that we need to pay attention to?
Okay. Aside the regular routine checks,
Yes.
so when you notice there's a blurry vision, your vision is no longer as clear as it used to be. When you
Okay.
have an eye strain, something that is, you're having a persistent eye strain, there's redness in the eyes, any discomfort really. I must say, if you're having any discomfort, something is here, or you're feeling that there's something here that wasn't there before, or I'm feeling a certain kind of way in my eyes that I don't usually feel this way before, right? So when you notice changes like that, any abnormalities at all, you should walk into an eye clinic. You don't need to wait until you can't see anymore with one eye or both eyes before you walk into a clinic. That's usually one of my issues I have with people. Even for me as an eye doctor, I try as much as possible to also be very, because sometimes it could be you can feel like, oh, okay, it's nothing, because you have knowledge of what's going on. But I tell
Yeah.
myself, look, I can't be ignorant of what I know, right?
True.
So it's better you start early. Emphasis on early, please. Emphasis on early. People, I feel like there's still this will I call it a stigma, or like it's kind of like a psychological challenge or presentation that people who wear glasses are blind, they're abnormal, and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Here's a shocker: you don't need to have any eye problem to wear glasses. I know you've heard, oh, you wear glasses because there's an eye condition.
Mhm.
Maybe you're not seeing well. Maybe you're trying to improve your eyesight. No, I there's something we call vision 2020, where you see literally there's a chart when you walk into an eye clinic. Sometimes when they start to test you, they give you a chart to read, right? And then when you're
Yeah.
able to see all the letters on the chart, when you can read to a particular extent, it's as is presumed, right, that you have good vision. So I would say for myself that yes, I've got good vision. I read the sixth line on the visual acuity chart. So my vision is good, premium vision. But I still wear glasses. I wear glasses.
Okay.
Why? Because
Very
I
nice.
understand the fact that my environment and the activities that I engage in require that I wear glasses, require that I engage in preventive, right? There's the preventive
Mhm.
eye health, eye care rather. There's preventive eye care. There's the management where you begin to manage conditions. Now you don't want to get to the point where you're managing the situations. If you have an opportunity to engage in preventive, why don't you do that? Why don't you engage in preventive rather than waiting till you have to manage the situation? So I am consciously engaging in preventive eye care, whereby I have glasses on when I'm on my devices. I believe we'll get to talk more on that really. When you notice any discomfort at all, go to an eye clinic or see an optometrist. Yeah.
Yeah, we are going to be talking about preventive care, but I think now that it's like top of mind, I think we can talk about it a little bit. So, like, what are preventive measures that you, as a doctor, what are these actions that you take personally, just for you, and then later on we can talk about like general stuff. But I am so
Okay.
jealous now that you can read the sixth line because I cannot.
Oh, darling. Oh, don't worry. Well, I'm sure you've got your glasses, right? Because they really help. Okay. So, personally, I try to reduce screen time. I try. We are all
But
guilty, but I try. We're
but
all
how,
guilty. Sorry?
but how though?
Okay, so I reduce my screen time. I try not to stay up so much, at night, especially at night on my phone. And then I have my my protective glasses. That's the photochromic lenses and the blue cut lenses that help to reduce the impact of the rays from my phone in my eyes. I try to also wear them when I'm out in the sun because the UV rays, they also have an impact on the eyes, right? Especially in the retina and all of that. So it's very important that you have your glasses on. Please go to an eye clinic and get the right glasses that your eyes need. Don't just go to a fashion store and then just buy any kind of glasses, right? You need to make sure that you're getting the right kind that your eye would need, because some people just feel like, oh, okay. I've seen someone who ordered this blue lights online. When I looked at the
Are you
glasses,
asking me? I think you're talking about me. Okay.
no, 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 really. I didn't. There is no bad blood here. I didn't even remember. But I know when I looked at it, I was like, what? No, no. Just go to an eye clinic. Do it right. I mean, if you're going to do something, do it right. My dad will always say, if you're going to do something, do it right. Do it right. If you want to do something, do it right. Walk into an eye clinic, meet an optometrist, and they would do a test on you and tell you the kind of glasses that you need for your eyes. Because sometimes people just buy them and they forget that, sometimes if you have a refractive error, they also have to incorporate it into those protective lenses, right? So if someone is myopic, short-sighted, you have to incorporate your power in those lenses. So when you go online and you just buy, your power is not incorporated. There's no correction in the lenses. There's no corrective power in the lenses. So you're just basically buying and I don't know, something that has a coating on it. Really. So another thing is I try to reduce the things, the kind of cosmetics that I use on my eyes. eyelashes, mascaras, eyeliners, and so and so and so and so and so. So what I do is
Wait,
I
really?
don't make up. I don't make up those things. They have an effect on the eyes as well. So I don't make up all the time. I don't use lashes all the time. I don't use mascaras and eyeliners all the time. Because they have their own their own conditions. They have issues. issues. So you can have inflammations due to these products. You can have allergic reactions due to these products as well. Blepharitis can occur due to these products. Meibomian gland dysfunctions. You know, these are things that false eyelashes can do to you. And then some people, they even begin to lose their natural lashes due to these products, right? So they begin to lose their natural lashes, and then they have to now depend on these artificial ones as well. And there's also an eye condition that is known as ptosis, right? I don't think anybody wants to have ptosis. So when you frequently use eyelashes, the ones that I think they're the ones now that they put directly, it's not just the ones that they take off you can wear, and I think there's the one that they install. I don't know what it's called, but
I don't know.
ladies, you want to be careful. You want to be careful with all these products. They are good, they make you look pretty, they make you look beautiful, but I believe that there's something called moderation when we want to apply ourselves to these things, right? So you don't want to go
Yes.
overboard with it. You don't want to rely on them so much. I mean, you're beautiful the way you are. Yes, there's nothing wrong with looking good, but you want to moderate them. At least when you are home, there's no need of wearing these things. Maybe if you have a function, you have an occasion, something you do occasionally, not all the time, because there's what we call ptosis, like I was saying, is the drooping of the eyelid, right? So you've, really done so much on the eyelids, and now the muscles there that help the eyelid to, open and close, go up and down. It's been interrupted. So that can what that does is the person finds it difficult to open and close their eyelids. So the eyelids are just drooping, they're just closed. You have to use your hands to literally raise the eyelids up. So these things happen. I know it's not, the thing is, I don't know if there's no much awareness or what, but these things, they are situations that you see in the hospital, right? And I'm glad that we're having this conversation on a platform like this, so at least it's going to reach out to more people. So please, we need to take note of this fashion and beauty. They have chemicals in them, right? So for example, if someone has meibomian gland dysfunction, it can lead to dry eyes. This product also causes dry eyes, so your eyes are very dry. There's a reason why there's a production of tears. Our eyes are meant to have some lubricants, right? The tears help to lubricate, to make it moist, basically, because your eyes are not supposed to be dry, basically. So some of these things, they cause dry eye, and dry eye can lead to this discomfort. It can lead to growth in the eyes, so many other things, basically. So we just need to be more, apply moderation when we do all these things. So yeah, so these are some of the things that we can do, and avoid physical, what's the word now, combat, whether it's with the opposite sex or with the same sex, so you don't lose the lens in your eyes. You don't lose your eyes due to that as well.
That makes sense. And thank you for describing what ptosis is, because I was going to ask you, and then you went ahead and described what it is, because I was like, what is this ptosis that she's talking about? Because I remember it from, I think, secondary school or uni or something. But yeah,
Yeah.
this is I'm glad we're having this conversation as well, because I knew that, like, I mean, from a biochemistry perspective, these chemicals can have some kind of effect, but I didn't know it was to this degree.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much. And my next question is more towards people like me who tend to do work with screens. And then again, I think everybody uses screens a bit more than they used to. So how is this affecting our eyesight, and are we doing long-term damage without realizing it?
Yes, I would say so. sometimes there's this saying that whatever has a good side has a bad side. Well, not everything anyways, but the devices are good. We use them to help us to be productive, right? But like I said before, there's moderation, right? Yeah, there we have to apply ourselves, in the right way. So
Okay, that makes
sorry.
sense.
So just give me a minute, sorry. So there's what we okay, let me just give this tip first before I go ahead. So for some of us who are regularly on the device, you're always on your screen, your laptop, your computers, your phone, tablets, it's important that you can just there's this thing we call you can take a break, look away every 20 minutes for 20 seconds at 20 feet. I will explain. It's not
Please
as
do.
complicated as it sounds. So what this means is, okay, so I'm working on a device, right? And I try as much as possible every 20 minutes to look up from the device and look far, just look away, like straight ahead for 20 seconds, right? And then probably just blink my eyes for a while. So it's called the 20-20 rule.
Okay.
So every 20 minutes, you look away from the device for 20 seconds at 20 feet. So 20 feet is like 6 meters. You just look up, blink your eyes for a while, and you go back to work. So what that does is that when you're doing a near walk on your device, your lens, the muscles in your eyes, they're contracted, basically. So, and since you're working on something that has light, the lights from the screen, the blue light from the screen is also going to be causing your eyes to be dry, right? So when you look away for a while, what this does is that it helps your eyes, the muscles of your eyes, to relax. And then when you blink, it helps to generate fluid, like the tears in your eyes, right? It helps to generate and cause your eyes to the liquid to circulate in your eyes. So that helps to prevent your eyes from being so dry, because you've been working on screens for so long. So, and then it just helps your eyes to relax and calm again for a while before you continue. Practicing this often will really help to reduce eye strain. It will help to reduce blurry vision. I don't know how many of us have experienced, or if you've experienced, Gigi, maybe when you're working on a screen and then you look up and all of a sudden your eyes, you just feel like everywhere is blurry.
Yeah, that's happened before.
Exactly. So this is what the 20-20 rule is going to help you achieve, basically. Yeah, this is one of and then you can get your photochromic lenses from your eye doctors wherever you are.
Okay. Well, I think that answered like a good chunk of the other questions I wanted to ask you, because I was going to ask you if blue light lenses actually make a difference, because they do for me, because I feel the difference when I work without them. But then I should consider getting the photochromic lenses or just going to see the doctor. This is fine. I will do it.
You should. You should. Your sight is very precious. I know when I was taking my oaths, when I was convinced that I was going to do optometry, and something I'd prayed about, I had gotten the leading that, okay, this is the part that I needed to go into. When I finally got into optometry, oh my God, it was like there was a veil that was taken away from me. Like there were so many things I realized that we are not even so aware of concerning our eyes. Back to what I was saying about taking our oaths, we would say when we're taking our oaths on our induction day, next to life, the sight is the most precious gift. Your eyes is the most precious gift next to life. Abi, something like that. Yeah, next to life, the God's most precious gift is sight, something like that. So really, we don't really know that next to life, and the most precious gift you have is eyesight. You see the world with your eyes. You behold with your eyes. You are so many things. So many
Mhm.
things you can do. So many possibilities when you have good sight.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
you can't really, you hardly see blind people driving on the road. You hardly.
I agree. Hardly.
You hardly. Maybe they are going to develop something someday that will make enable blind people to drive, comfortably. But there are so many things that, having a bad eyesight can limit one to, currently. So
Mhm.
why not preserve what you have?
Sure. Okay. So I think even from the previous conversations, you answered like a good chunk of what I wanted to ask you. So then, let's take it from like a food and nutrition perspective. So what are there like particular foods? I know like they say eat carrots and stuff, but then are there other nutrients that and foods that play a crucial role in maintaining good eye health?
Yes, there are. Usually we're advised to eat balanced diets. Well, and then when you eat balanced diet and eat healthy, basically it applies to every area of your life, of your health, basically. But vitamin A is very important for the eyes. It's particularly something that is good for eyesight. You already mentioned carrot, there are mangoes, there are green vegetables, right? There's eggs, excuse me, there's egg, spinach, stuff like that. They help, right? They help with eyesight because it contains specific nutrients, vitamins that will aid eyesight and help to maintain your eye health, basically. So, in terms of nutrition, you're good to go in this area.
Okay.
I hope that
Now,
answers it.
yes, it did answer my question. And now I have another question. Aside photochromic glasses, do sunglasses actually help? Because they're often seen as a fashion statement, but then do they really do anything with protecting our eyes? And if they do, what kind of like sunglasses should we be looking out for?
Okay, so yes, actually, sunglasses, they help. Like the word sunglasses, it's limited to protecting your eyes from the sun.
Yeah.
Outdoor, when you're going for an outdoor event, put on shades. They help protect the eyes from the UV rays from the sun, right?
Yes.
However, when you are going for a dark shades or sunglasses or whatever, you want to look at the ones that have the photochromic properties. Um, how do I explain this now? Some glasses are just tinted, right? We have tinted glasses. They
Mhm.
may help to, reduce the impact of the sun really on your eyes. I remember a particular day when I went out and the sun was so much and I regretted why I was not with my glasses. I think I rushed off and I didn't carry my glasses. And that day, oh my God, happened to have this scorching sun and it was terrible. That was when, I think for me, that was when I really like realized how important my glasses were. So when you're looking out for shades and sunglasses, you want to look out for something that is not just, I don't know, tinted, but maybe I don't buy shades so much, so I can't really tell you, this is the product or this is the brand that you must get. But I can speak from the parts where my specialty. I wear blue cut lenses and photochromic lenses. So, and it works for me, both for the screen and both for the sun and both for my vision. And that's why I usually recommend to patients. I say to them, look, if you can get a fashionable frame, now it's so good that you can get any frame of your choice, right? If you can get a very fashionable frame that is really good, that looks good on you, you love, take it, purchase it, and then go to an eye clinic and say to them, look, I want to get so and so kind of glass. I want to get blue cut lenses. Sorry, I want to get photochromic lenses in these glasses. That I can recommend. However, being able to test the quality of some shades or sunglasses that are being sold, I can't really tell you how you can figure out if the properties in those lenses will do you justice, will do justice to your eye, protecting your eyes, basically. So yes, this is what I would recommend.
Okay. I mean, that answer works. Okay. So moving on to something else. There, you have already discussed about the impact of makeup and how it's important to exercise moderation in all these things. So, for women who tend to rely on eyeliner and mascara and false lashes. Let's say they do decide to wear it in moderation. So within those periods where they're wearing it in moderation, are there any hygiene tips they can be aware of to prevent eye infections?
Yes, yes, please. There are. Number one, try not to share makeup. Will I say products now or brushes?
I
Try
mean,
as much as
both.
not to share, yes, makeup brushes, like those things basically, you know what I mean. Try not to share them. Another thing you should try to do is also wash your makeup brushes and the things that you use to apply makeup on yourself. Wash your hands thoroughly before using it to apply, touch your eyes. Avoid touching your eyes when you haven't washed your hands, okay? Because our hands, we touch a lot of things. You drop your phone here, you pick up your phone, you want to sit down, you touch a desk, you're on the staircase, you're holding the rail, so many things really. I can't even count. And then maybe your eyes are itching, and then you just take the hand, and then you're itching your eyes. You are trying to take off something from your eyes, and you're using that hand to, like, all these things are not good for you. So if you want to do something with your eyes, it's very, very advisable that you wash your hands. You wash your hands thoroughly, and then before you can do anything with your eyes. Especially those of us that wear contact lenses, right? You're not advised to wear your contact lenses without washing your hands thoroughly, please. So these are some of the things that you can do. And avoid sleeping with these products. Yes, avoid sleeping with them. Don't sleep with your makeup on, your eyeliners on. Try as much as possible to take them out before you go to bed.
Okay, this is solid advice. And it's almost like you already knew that I was going to talk about contact lenses next. So
Really?
yeah. So apparently they are very tricky to maintain. I don't know. I don't wear contact lenses. I admire people who do because I really do not know how they do it. So for our listeners who are users of contact lenses, what are do's and don'ts for wearing them aside washing their hands, if there's anything else, especially in like Nigeria, places where it's like very dusty or humid?
Okay, so yes, you mentioned washing your hand, which is very important. If you're someone who wears contact lenses, you must be hygienic. You must practice basic hygiene, basic routines. So like washing your hands and keeping clean. Another thing you should try to do is to use contact lens solutions. Please do not use water in place of contact lens solutions. That can cause keratoconus, is a condition of the cornea. So what this happens is that the water you use, the tap water, in our bathrooms, in our homes, sometimes we can't really tell if some of these things are 100% pure, right? So they may have some germs or some impurities in them, and then so when you put your contact lens in this water and then you put it in your eyes, you might just be packing germs and accumulating germs in your eyes, right? So it's very important you use there's usually a solution that you buy when you buy contact lens, so please use that solution when you are applying your contact lenses. Another thing is, do not wear them for prolonged hours, especially if they are just recommended as daily wear or they are just for cosmetic. There's the cosmetic contact lenses and there is the corrective contact lenses, really. So cosmetic is basically you're just wearing them for cosmetic purposes, just to pop your eyes and stuff like that. Corrective is it has your prescriptions in it, and so you have to wear them in order to see properly. So yes, when you are applying this, it's good to follow the instructions from your optometrist. Please do not use any other liquid except the liquid that you have been prescribed to use with your contact lenses. Another thing is avoid sleeping with your contact lenses, especially if it's not an extended wear. If it's a daily wear, please take them off before you go to bed. When you get home, wash your hands and take off your contact lenses and place them in the liquid, right? Also, check for the expiration dates that are on your contact lenses and on the liquids. So some contact lenses have a duration of 6 months, 1 year, and all of that, depending on the prescription and the kind of contact lens you're using. So it's good to adhere to these things when using contact lenses. Is there any other thing I should say? Yes, avoid swimming with your contact lenses. It's really not advisable to swim with them. There are some things that you can't even do wearing contact lenses. Maybe you are in a place where there's a lot of let's say the environment, you're doing a job that requires you getting dirty, and stuff like that. I think you can do without your contact lenses. Maybe put on a goggle or something that would, on it. So that would really help to prevent dirt from, entering the eyes and contaminating your contact lenses. So I think some of these tips are things that we should look out for when we are using contact lenses.
Okay, thank you so much. I think those make sense. Those make sense. So I have another question, but this time it's coming from the perspective of aging. So for women in their 20s, 30s, and beyond, what are steps that we should be putting into consideration to take good care of our eyes and maintain good eyesight as we age? Because it seems like as we get older, there's higher risks of like glaucoma and cataract. So what should we be putting into perspective?
I think I would just say to the women out there, prioritize your health, prioritize your health. Go for routine checks, eat healthy, and I feel we are good to go. There's really no much physics to it, basically. If you are able to walk into an eye clinic regularly, twice, as little as minimum twice in a year, every 6 months, you eat healthy, you prioritize your health, I think that would really help, to conserve whatever challenges where you're going to face later in life. For many people, especially not just women really now, but generally when people begin to age, there are some changes that will happen in the eyes. Usually people from 40 years and above, some early 38, 39, but usually from 40 and above, they tend to have what we call presbyopia. What's presbyopia? It's an age related condition, basically. So what that is the lens in your eyes, it's just like every part of your body is aging. People begin to have gray hair. You're not as strong as you were when you were 15 years old. Likewise, changes are occurring in your eyes. So the lens in your eyes are not as strong and, like and elastic as they were before. So now you need glasses to support your eyes to be able to converge and see tiny objects. So you see older people tell you that, oh, they can't read the prints they were able to read previously. Yes, that's presbyopia. So it's really not a big deal, please. A lot of people feel like it's a death sentence. No, it's just presbyopia. You're aging gracefully and you just need to do what's best for you. Go get your glasses and you can see better with them. So these are the things that you should look out for. Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you so much for answering that. And I think we're coming towards the end, so it's just very few questions left. So my next question is about herbal treatments and traditional treatments. Like I think, for example, like things like tiro. So are these like methods or tools, are they like safe or should we avoid them completely?
Personally, I would say avoid them. See, it's better to, how do I say it now? It's better to not even engage in something that you have to argue so much that, oh, it's right. Our grandfathers did it. Our grandmothers did it. Things like that. So for me, I would say to you, look, just obey. The Bible says, if you're willing and obedient, you would eat the fruit of the land. Just obey. Just avoid the harainons. I see people say, oh, if you put urine in your eyes, I've met a lot. I can't even begin to say the things that I've encountered in this profession.
Please, can you share some of them? I'm very curious now because I've heard that urine thing too.
I can't even say I've heard people say they put Dettol in their eyes to wash the eyes. I've heard
What?
all manner of things. I say to you, it's crazy out there. It's really
Has sex
crazy out
put
there.
in the eye?
People go the extreme on their children, on themselves. People have lost their vision due to all. Just just go to someone who has been trained to care for your eyes. It's as simple as that. It's just like a woman now who wants to give birth. There is a gynecologist in the hospital. Why are you going to wherever you want to go to for whatever? Why don't we just all avoid all these things and just do the right thing? So personally, I'm not up for any of these native methods of treating your eyes or whatever. Just go to the eye clinic. They'll give you eye drops, they give you treatments, whatever it is you need, they would sort you out, right? So that's what I recommend, really. I don't recommend you doing any of those things. I feel like it's just a lot. I've seen a lot of people who don't even come out of it and they wish they didn't.
Okay, so I have one final question and then we are wrapping up. So thank
Okay.
you so much, Dr. Arila. So let's say the person listening to this podcast forgets a good chunk of what we have discussed so far in the past, let's say 40-ish minutes or so. So what's the one that you want this person or people listening to this podcast to take away from this conversation?
I want to say this to the ladies that are listening to this podcast. Ladies, girl, if you can afford luxury hair, beauty products, quality eye care is nothing for you to invest in. If you can take care of your body, buy shoes, buy handbags, please let's prioritize what matters most to us. Prioritize your health, prioritize your eyesight, okay? Don't feel like it's nothing because it starts from, oh, I thought it was nothing to now it has become something huge. So please, I'll say it again. If you can afford luxury hairs, beauty products, clothes, shoes, bags, you can afford quality eye care services. So please take good care of your eyesight. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And then the one last, very final thing. So say the person listening to this podcast would like to reach out to you. Where's the best place that they can find you?
Okay, I'm on Instagram.
Okay.
I'm on Instagram. Um, why? Because I believe many people listening to this podcast may not be in the same physical location as I am.
Yeah.
So basically, if you are able to reach out to me and maybe you need a physical consultation or something, I can probably recommend you to somewhere maybe in the states that you are in or in the location that you're in, if I'm able to. And if it's something that we can handle online, definitely. But however, if you need anything concerning, you have any concerns or challenges with your eye care, your sight, you can walk into any eye clinic in the area that you are and request for, to be seen. And then you can take it up from there.
All righty. Thank you so much. And
Yeah.
brings us to the end of today's conversation. And I hope
Exactly.
you, dear listener, you're walking away with a new appreciation for your eye health, whether it's making small changes like taking screen breaks, wearing proper sunglasses or photochromic glasses, going to see a doctor as often as you should, or being more mindful of your makeup hygiene. These little habits can make a big difference in protecting your vision. Again, a huge thank you to Dr. Arila for sharing her knowledge and insight with us. And if you'd like to connect with her, or if you'd like to connect with her or check out even her books, I'll leave all the details in the episode description and also the link to her Instagram profile also in the show notes and in the episode description. And as always, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, share it with someone who might find it useful. You can also follow Blush and Bloom on Instagram at asale.tech, which is the company behind this podcast, and follow us for more updates and visit our website at www.asale.tech to check out the show notes, of course, and for more conversations like this. So take care of yourself, take care of your eyes, and I will catch you in the next episode.